is Jakub, and I'm the creative lead here at CareerFoundry. And today we'll be learning the fundamentals of Sketch. So just a couple of housekeeping things. If you have any questions, I would suggest you post them in the Q&A panel just on your right. So basically that will allow us to filter them much easier. So we can have some time at the end so I can answer these questions. And as I said, today we'll be talking about some of the fundamental functions of Sketch. So Sketch is a very powerful wireframing and prototyping tool used by UX and UI designers. Sketch is a vector-based tool, which means that every shape you draw can be resized to any dimension without losing its sharpness. And it obviously comes very, very handy when you create a responsive app. So you're not stuck with a single size that loses quality after resizing it to a different screen. A license costs $99, which is quite expensive. I think Figma and Adobe XD now offer free versions, and after 1 year, you'll be paying $69 a year. But CareerFoundry students get 50% off their first year. So the question we get very often is which tool I should be using, and sadly we can't really tell you. That. CareerFoundry is trying to be tool agnostic, which means basically you pick the tool you want to learn, and that's kind of what's happening in the industry as well. So depending on where you're going to work, the studio or the company where you're working will be using different tool. What I suggest is that you download all of them actually, and just try them all and see which one works better for you. And today we'll be covering, as I said, the fundamentals of Sketch. So we'll cover Sketch interface, working with artboards, adding shapes, adding text, adding color and images, creating text styles, and exporting your work. But before we get started with designing, I thought we could make the session a tiny bit interactive. So I'm going to ask you what I should be designing today. Should I design a music app or a fitness app? So I'm going to open a poll, and you can let me know. I basically sketched a couple of wireframes. Okay, music. I'll give you 20 seconds to decide. Okay, fitness app is winning. Yeah, okay. 59% for fitness app. I'm into that. 61. A few more seconds. It is fitness app. Okay, I'm closing that poll. Awesome. That's really, really cool. So let's get started. So as I said, I sketched a couple of wireframes before that. I already incorporated them into Sketch. So I took a photo, sent it to my computer, and it's basically here. So this is what we're going to be designing. But let's start from the top. So I'm going to close this window. And after downloading and opening Sketch, let me open it again. This is what you're going to see. So basically, you're going to see most recent projects that you've worked on. So I'm just going to click on that and come back here. And what you see here in the middle, all this white space, is called canvas. And that's where all the designing is happening, basically. At the top, you have your toolbar. This toolbar can be customized. You can just right-click, click on Customize Toolbar, and all these different options will be available to you. So if you find out that you're using some of the tools more often, for example, we'll be using the rectangle tool today, you can just add it to, oops, I actually already have it. Let's say we want to add artboards. Then you can just add it. You can obviously remove it as well. Very, very easy. On the left, right here, you have your pages panel and your layers panel. So every shape, every text, every image that will be added to your design basically will appear in the layers panel. And I'm so guilty of that. But it's very important that you keep your layers organized, because you will quickly see that it can become very, very messy and confusing. So yeah, tip number one, keep your layers panel organized. And then on your right, right here, you have your inspector. An inspector displays controls to edit all the visual attributes of a given layer. So it will display different controls depending on what kind of layer you're working on. So for example, if you're working with text, like so, you'll have different options here to control that text. Make it bigger, make it smaller. And for example, if you work with rectangles, so with shapes, you can also change the color, the border, things like that. So we'll get to it tiny bit later. Let me just check the chat. I can see that some of you can't hear me, but we are recording the webinar, so will be available later. If you can't hear me, please try using Chrome, but you can't hear me. So we have a Will in the background. If you can let this person know that Chrome is working best, that would be amazing. So Canvas we covered basic interface. Let's talk about artboards. So even though you can draw on your canvas, it's not how you're supposed to work within Sketch. So in Sketch we use artboards. And artboards are this primary way of dividing a Sketch document into screens. And to make an artboard, you simply click A on your keyboard. So I'm clicking A. And then in the inspector panel, you'll see all these different options for all these different devices, like Apple, Android, desktop devices, and in recent updates, they actually started adding social media devices. So you can also select a custom size, but for the purpose of this webinar, I'll just select maybe iPhone 11. So there you have it. Another way to create an artboard is just going to this menu at the top. You can just click Insert, scroll down to Artboard, and the same menu in the inspector panel will come up. So as you can see, in the layers panel, the iPhone 11 artboard just appeared. So you can double click on it. You can change the name. So let's change it to Fitness App Home Screen. If you want to move it, so this is useful when you have lots of different screens and you want to move them around, you can just grab the name of the app and you can just move it around the canvas. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make it tiny bit bigger so it's kind of as big as my low fidelity wireframe, and we can start applying these basic shapes that I've sketched out in my low fidelity wireframe. So as you can see, we'll be mainly working with some ovals, with some squares and some text, and a lot of user interfaces basically are working with basic shapes like ovals and rectangles. So let's start with drawing some rectangles. So again, you can either do that with a shortcut, which is R, or you can go to the Insert, Shapes, and Rectangle. So let's start from the top. I'm gonna do this. Picture image, moving the border. So this is just going to be a mid-fidelity wireframe with some basic shapes. So we have that. Then I'm selecting the R key again. I'm gonna sketch this button. Let's give it a bigger border. Then I'm gonna do the ovals. Actually, before doing the ovals, let's do this really cool thing I really like. So basically, if you're not holding a shift button and you're drawing a rectangle, it can be any size you want. But look what happens when I press shift button. It basically becomes a perfect square. So this is sometimes useful when you're trying to get a perfect square in your design. So again, I'm gonna remove the border, and I'm just gonna, since I'm at it, I'm just gonna do these second and third row squares. Yeah, there you go. So now let's move over to ovals. I'm gonna select Insert, Shapes, Oval, also pressing the Shift key. So it's a perfect circle, so it's not anything too flat. Gonna resize it a little bit so it's similar size to the square. I'm pressing the Option key, and while holding the Option key, I'm dragging the oval and basically creates the perfect copy of that selected element. Cool, I'm happy with that. And then let's create that bottom menu. So it's another shape, rectangle. This time I'm not holding the Shift key, so I can just free draw it. Let's make it 70 pixels. So again, here in the inspector, you can change the width, you can change the height of the selected element. Just pretty cool. I think that's too big though, so I'm gonna go back to 70. 70 pixels. Deselecting the border. Let's zoom in, make it even. And then I'm gonna draw these basic icons also. For now, I'll just be using rectangle tool. Let's make it 35 by 35. That with slightly different color. And again, I'm pressing the Option key. I'm just gonna copy it a few times. Let's say 5. Now, I sometimes really struggle with this because, you know, you copy different elements and they're all not aligned properly, and you want that perfect distance between them. And for that, Sketch has a really cool tool also in the Spectre panel. So I'm selecting all these little elements and I'm pressing this Distribute Layers Horizontally button. And that kind of made the spaces all the same. Now I'm gonna align layers to the middle so they're all aligned together. And now I'm gonna group them together. So Sketch knows it's the same group. So I just pressed Command G to make a group. And again, I'm gonna select that rectangle behind and the group I just created. And I'm gonna press the same thing. So align layer to middle. And as you can see, maybe, let me show that so you can see it properly. So again, rectangle behind the menu, then the group, pressing the align layer to middle, and it basically aligns the selected element to the middle. Yeah, so now you can already see in my layers panel, it just became super messy. And I think it's a good moment. Actually, no, I'm gonna do some more mess with adding some text, and then we can try to organize it so it's a bit clearer. So let's add some text. So for that, again, we can use Insert and Text, but there's also a keyboard shortcut for that, obviously, and it's T. So I'm pressing T on my keyboard, and this little cursor pops up. So I'm just gonna press here, type something, let's say button text. So as you can see, I can already play with different typefaces, different weights and different sizes, even different colors. I'm just gonna keep it super basic for now. So we can style it a little bit better later. And Sketch is pretty clever. So as you can see here, I hope you can see that. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. Basically, Sketch kind of understands that this text field is within that box, and it kind of automatically guides you to align it in the middle. But again, just as we did with this element here at the bottom, you can do the same. So I'm gonna select the bottom button box and the text field, and then just do that. And obviously you have different options depending on what you want to achieve. Yeah, really, really cool. So now we have that. We now need this heading 1. So I'm just gonna again click T and just gonna click here. What shall we call it? It's a workup app. New workouts. Is that how you spell it? Workout. Yeah. So that's the heading 1. Then I'm just selecting that. We're gonna have your workouts. If you have any suggestions to how I should be calling these sections, let me know. Trainers, amazing, awesome. Trainers. Sweet. And I guess we'll need some text underneath. So I'm just gonna click select text, make it a tiny bit smaller. And again, I'm gonna do that. Basically what I'm doing, again, I'm holding the Option key and dragging the text so it quickly duplicates. I think that works. Maybe for later, I'm just gonna copy that and I'm gonna add a little icon here. Maybe that's a tiny bit too small, but we're gonna deal with that tiny bit later. We might have space for another row of these activities. But actually, now is the good moment to, deal with all this mess that I've just created in the layers panel. So as I told you, it's really important to keep these layers organized. So basically, as you can see, for example, this element was grouped together and now it's grouped with this. We don't want that. So I'm gonna move it outside of the group. I'm gonna move this group to the bottom. Then let's group all these items together. So basically you can just drag your mouse over the elements and pressing Command G, but actually there's another way. I just never use it. Layers. Oh my God. Okay, I don't remember, but basically Command G on your keyboard, and that groups all these elements into one folder here in the layers panel. So let's call it trainers. Sweet. Then let's have favorite workouts. Let's group all of that. Command G. Favorite. Grace. Great tip. It's right click and group selection. favorite workouts. And we have, as Grace said, group selection. So right-clicking, group selection. New workouts. So as I said, I think we might have space for another one of these. Let's call it, what shall we call it? Top workouts, top yoga pics. I'll change that color a tiny bit so it doesn't blend with the images here. Okay, so basically, your program, great suggestion, Stefano. That's basically it for creating a mid-fidelity wireframe. So as you can see, this is pretty easy. So in under half an hour, we already have something we can hopefully prototype with users. But our work isn't done, so obviously we can do a lot with that, like, you know, with spacing. Very important thing to remember that I'm not gonna cover today is working with grids, for example, but we can align it a little bit. That we obviously covered that in our UX design program. Let me just. That's actually quite a good tip. So if you want to, within a group, within that folder, if you want to get quickly to an element that you want to move, you just double click that element and it will just be so much easier. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I think now we can move to styling the wireframe and turning it into a high fidelity wireframe. So now you know how to work with different shapes and text and how to organize your layers. Let me just, as I'm saying, you know how to organize your layers, I'm giving a really bad example. But let's group it together. So I'm just gonna call it group selection, double click on your mouse, bottom menu. I'm just gonna group the button text. So we know it's a button, so Command G, main. Maybe, okay, let's just leave that. I'm happy with that. How did you turn that grid on? Yes, so basically you can either, as I said, you can customize your toolbar and you can add the show layout option into your toolbar. And because I use the grid quite often, it's just there. But if you don't want to do that, you can also go to View in the top menu, then to Canvas, and then Show Layout. So View, Canvas, show layout, and then obviously you can have a different preference, or maybe you're working on a different grid, so you can always select layout and just change it to a different number of columns. Yeah. And hide layout. Also, you can actually use this something, it's quite confusing because the layout, I think it should be really called the grid, but like they also have a proper grid. I'll just remember that. Yeah. Okay. So I think now it's quite an exciting moment, at least for me, because I love working with images. So we're gonna add some images. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy this mid-fidelity wireframe on the screen, and then we're just gonna apply some extra cool effects to it. So what I just did, I again pressed Alt, Option key, and then just dragged it. But you can just copy and paste, and it just applies to it. So as you can see, now we have 2 of these in the layers panel. So let's call it a mid-fidelity, and this will be our final screen. Cool. Let's talk about images. So obviously, you can simply just drop an image into your design. And I downloaded one before the webinar. So I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. So here it is. I'm dropping it. But it's not really how we should do it, because it's just kind of floating and it's not being constrained into that design I just created. So let me just do some more styling to that bottom. I'm going to move this image to the side for now. And basically what we're going to do, we're going to mask that image so it fits within the rectangle that we created. And for you to really see what I mean, I'm going to round the edges a little bit, just like that. I'm going to expand it a little bit. Oops. And then I'm gonna put it here over the top. So basically here in the layers panel, now you have that image on the top. That's the top layer. So I'm just gonna drag it here. And I'm just gonna group it. So basically what I'm grouping is the rectangle with the round edges and the image. So I'm grouping it, Command G, top, banner. So changing the name of the layer. Again, we're just double clicking to change that. So nothing changed with that image yet. But look what's going to happen now. So basically, I am right-clicking on the rectangle within that group, and I'm pressing mask. And that basically applies the element that is on top of that rectangles and puts it inside that rectangle, if that makes sense, which is pretty cool. So just to, I hope that makes sense, but let me just demonstrate it again here. So we have that image, some masking, and this image is just basically inside that shape. Really cool. But I also completely understand if you don't have your own images. Sometimes you just work, you're rushing, you don't have time to commission a photographer, for example. So there are obviously many resources on the internet that you can use. So I wouldn't recommend just going to Google and Googling an image, because this image can be copyrighted, and you shouldn't be using these images. But obviously there are lots of services like Adobe Stock or Shutterstock. These are paid, but there is a service. Let me just share my, I'm gonna switch my screen to my browser, and I'm gonna show you a very cool website called, some of you probably know it, it's called Unsplash. Let me just figure out how to do it. There you go. Hope you can see it. Yes, you can. So basically, Unsplash has a huge variety of really beautiful photos. So let's say workout photo. Actually, this photo just gave me an idea. Maybe the bottom meal plan. We should call it a meal plan. That's kind of fitness related. So again, I like this photo. Maybe I'll download it. But there's another trick you can do. So you can obviously download your photos. You can import your own photos to Slack. And let me just go back to our design. It's loading. Okay, I think you can see it. Sketch has a Unsplash plugin, and I love it. So to access that plugin, you just need to go to plugins, and I already have it. But basically, all you need to do is manage plugins, get plugins, and that will bring you here, where you can search for Unsplash, and then you just download it, and you can start using it, which is really cool. So as I said, I already have it. So I'm just gonna show you how to use it. So basically, I'm just gonna select one of these ovals. I'm gonna right-click on it, pressing Data, Unsplash, and you can search for a random photo, but obviously not in this case because we have a clear objective, which is a fitness app. So I'm doing Unsplash, search photo. Let's say cycling. So I'm searching for cycling images. It's pretty boring. Refresh data, cycling. That's a bit creepy. I really don't like these, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna search for yoga. Refresh. Now that's a yoga picture I want. And then here, I'm just selecting all these free elements, data, Unsplash, search photo. I'm just gonna do workout. This one's a bit weird. So I'm just gonna refresh it. Okay, that will do. You can do the same thing here. So basically I'm selecting all these rectangles where I want my images to appear. Right click, data, Unsplash, search photo. My favorite workout is a indoor cycling. Actually, no, I prepared for this. I'm gonna start another poll. So I'm starting to poll now. Let me know what your favorite workout is. You have 15 seconds. Zumba. Never been, but I heard really good things. 1 vote for Zumba. Cycling. Weightlifting. Okay, running. Is running the winner? Yoga. Running and yoga seem to be... Okay. Yoga it is. So let's search for yoga images. Perfect. Now with trainers, another cool option, and this actually isn't coming from Unsplash, it's coming straight from Sketch. It's sketch data, and then you can just use faces. Yeah, let's try these. Cool, happy with that. And then meal plan, we'll use Unsplash plugin again. Search photo, healthy meal. Cool. I think that looks okay. I just realized one of the icons here disappeared. So I'm gonna move it here so I don't forget to change it later. So now let's take care of this text. Obviously, this is just a random typeface I picked from the inspector panel. I have another poll for you. What typeface shall we use in this design? Should we use Helvetica or should we use Futura? Start voting. We will select one of these. I'm seeing some questions, so I'm just gonna answer them right now while you voting. So is the Unsplash plugin available only in Sketch or other wireframe tools as well? I would need to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure I used it in Adobe XD. And if not Unsplash, then there will be some other plugins available. What resources will you use to choose fonts? Where do you go for inspiration? Actually, maybe I can answer that later. We recently recorded a video about 7 websites for UI design inspiration. And one of the websites that I really like and recommended in the video is called Font Pair. .com, I think, or .co, and it's just beautiful and awesome. So check that out. Let's check that poll. Futura, love it. I usually go for Helvetica, but Futura it is. You decided. Okay, let's do this. So let's start with the top button. So I'm selecting the text. I'm gonna change it to Futura. Maybe not bold, maybe medium. That looks good. I'm gonna again, oops, select the rectangle and the text with the shift, align it. I'm happy with that. And then let's change that H1. So again, because we use Futura now, it's in the top selected ones. How do we like this? Maybe tiny bit smaller. Yeah. So here's the thing that I really like, and it's called styling the text and creating text style. So basically, this is a simple design. So you only have one screen. So basically going through each of these text fields wouldn't take that long. But imagine you have an app with, let's say, 100 screens, and then you need to update every single line of text on every single screen. You would go mad. So basically, what you can do is to create different styles for your text. So you can create a style for your heading 1 or heading 2 or your body. And if you change that in one screen, it will automatically update the rest of the copy, rest of the text on your designs. So let's do exactly that. So now I'm happy with this heading 1 style. I'm just gonna go to my inspector panel on the left, and you can see here in appearance, there's no text style. So I'm just gonna click this button and create, and it's giving me this option, new workout style, but I'm just gonna change it to heading 1. So now it's a text style. So now if I select this and this and this, and I'll go to the appearance, this document, heading 1, it will automatically change. I didn't select that probably, but you get the idea. Super easy. And let me just demonstrate what I meant. So basically, let's change that to this, for example, very quickly, just for a moment. I'm going to click update, and all these change to the typeface I just picked, which is pretty useful. But now let's go back to Futura, because it just looks better. Update, and there you have it. So let's do the same with all these little headings. So I'm gonna go for another, maybe Futura Light. Dora. I don't have it. Let's go for italic. So this is one. Let's call it a H heading 3. And then let's select all these heading 3. Why not updating? Okay, now I know. So basically you need to press Shift button on your keyboard and select these 2 elements for it to update properly. Great. We'll do the same here. H3. And you can't really see it. I'm just gonna do it so I can sleep better at night. So I'm gonna hide the bottom menu just for a second. So basically, you can just click this little icon with a little eye. So it disappears. And apply the style. And then we're back with the menu. Give me a thumbs up if you are happy with this so far. What font was? What font was used in the trainers heading? Well, I think it was this, no? American typewriter. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to show you another thing. So basically, trainers, you'll need some names for these trainers. And here again, you can use data, sketch data, and just go to data, sketch data, and names. And all these names change. I think let's change it to in yoga 15 minutes. And this yoga flow 15 minutes. Yoga A6 5 minutes. And how about this? Let's call it evening yoga 15 minutes. Cool, I love it. Very happy with that. Let's do something with this very ugly button. So remember at the beginning of the tutorial, we just basically did a basic rectangle. So now let's turn it into something prettier. And to do that, you just basically go to the inspector. And let's maybe add some rounded edges to our design. So you can already see, basically I'm just adding this radius and this is happening, which is pretty cool. Now, I kind of like this violet. Is it violet? Is it purple? Let's call it purple. This purple color. So I'm gonna use something similar. Now in fills, if you like some colors, and obviously there are different ways you can create your own color palette. You can go to websites like Adobe Color, for example, and pick that one that is already existing. But if you see something on the internet, for example, that you really like, You can just screen grab it, import it to Sketch, like any image, and use this color picker to basically select that color. So I want the button to be the same shade of purple. There you go. Now the text you can't really see, so I'm just gonna change it to white. Maybe let's try a white border. Okay. Not great, not terrible. Let's keep it this way. I'm just a bit worried about time. Cool. We can also maybe add a shadow behind. Can't really see it, I guess, but yeah, it's just an effect. Now I want to show you how to work with icons. So yeah, where do I start? Basically, you can create your own, which obviously is actually a very, very difficult task. Or if you're just starting with UX and UI, you can use many of the resources that are already available to you on the internet. So let me show you one of my favorite websites that I use for sketch resources, and it's called Sketchup Sources. I'm just going to post it in the chat so you can check it out. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. For those who need to leave early, we are recording the session. We'll send you an email afterwards. So don't you worry. Okay, I'm switching my screen to this beautiful website. So basically, here you have lots of mostly free resources, tutorials, videos, plugins that were created for Sketch. So I would really recommend you browse this site. It's just so full of inspiration. As you can see here, you have some color inspiration. You can find some illustration inspiration, some UI kits. But what we're looking for is icons. So I'm just searching for icons. And let's see this. I'm just going to download that. Let's go back to Sketch. I will show some music in background. I hope you're listening to some nice playlist. Okay, so we're back. Let me just open that file. Sketch. Cool. So basically, this is what we downloaded. This is a completely free resource for you to use. And if you're short on time, then I really recommend you use it. So let me just double check. We're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 icons, and I'm gonna show you how to design this one at the top. So let's select 5 different icons. So I'm just gonna go with the essential selection. So I'm holding the Shift key. Let's go with the basics, you know. Although I really like the circle ones, I'm gonna go with these. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. I'm pressing Command C to copy, and I'm just gonna drop them here somewhere on the canvas. Command V, and you have them here. So yes, you can use them like this, but a smarter way of using these little icons is actually turning them into symbols. So to do that, you can just right-click and create a symbol. So this will be menu. As you can see here in the pages, this new page appeared where all these symbols will be stored centrally, which is pretty handy. So I'm turning that into a symbol as well. Maybe let's turn all these into white white lines. Oops. There you go. So the reason I'm doing that is because I'll just use a shade of purple on that bottom bottom menu bar. So let's just do it. Let's just do it now. So let's say group. Let's select that. And actually, you know what? It's not the previous color, but I'm just gonna select the color picker and just go for the exact color. So now let's turn all these into symbols. So again, right-clicking, create symbol. I think I need to do them separately. So profile. Like bookmark and cool. Let's call it important. So obviously you can spend much more time selecting different icons, but I just want to show you what's going to happen now. So basically, all these rectangles now can be replaced with symbols that you added to your symbols page, which is pretty cool. So I'm selecting that first rectangle, right-clicking, and going to replace with. And here you have all your symbols, so you can just select profile. And then let's go to this one, and let's select bookmark. Let's go to this one. Important. Clicking too much. Like. And well, we haven't used star. Okay, doesn't matter. You get the idea. These are really well-designed icons. And all these resources are available for you for free on the internet. So use them if you're short on time, or you're just starting out. And let me just show you. So we're going to create a symbol from scratch. And maybe it should be a speech bubble. I was thinking about a menu icon, but I think it's, I'll show you more functionalities if I create a speech bubble. So let's just do that. And I promise that's one of the last things I'm doing. So let's create an artboard. So as you remember, we press A on that keyboard, and creating something like that. And then we want to have a speech bubble. So if you go to our shapes, there are no speech bubbles here. So how are we gonna make it? So basically, we're gonna combine two shapes and merge them into one that will look, hopefully, like a speech bubble. So I'm gonna start with these rounded edges rectangle, like this. And then gonna triangle, maybe like this. I'm gonna turn it around. Just gonna zoom in so we can see clearly. Maybe like that. So obviously at the moment, it isn't looking super nice. But let me show you a little trick. So I'm selecting these two shapes, and here at the top and on the toolbar, you have these different options to union these two shapes, to subtract, to intersect, or to, I guess, see the difference. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you every single one of them so you have an idea of what is happening. So difference, not really what we want. Intersect, really not what we want. Subtract, nope. And then union. There you have it. So obviously, this isn't like the perfect speech bubble. We could keep working on that. How do I rotate the triangle? So yeah, that's again, there's let me show you again. So any shape, any text box, you can, or image, you can rotate. And to do that, you just need to press this button on your toolbar, and you can just rotate. So this is the manual way. If you're looking for something more specific, you can keep pressing the Shift key, for example, and that will give you, 15, 30 degrees, 45, 60, 75, 90. So this is a tiny bit more accurate. But if you're looking for something super specific, also in the panel on your left in the inspector, you have this little menu almost at the top, and you can just select the degree there. and I will rotate. Okay, let's make this tiny bit bigger. I'm gonna, in this case, probably remove the background. Let me see the, so we want for it to look similar to this. I'm gonna remove the background and then make the edges maybe a tiny bit thicker and make them in white. And then again, we are selecting this, combine shapes, create symbol, speech bubble, create, we're going back to our design. Replace with speech bubble. So there you have it. Actually, just super quickly. I'm gonna change the, yeah, so I can see it properly. I'm just gonna add little circles, white circles here. So it's clearly like a chat thing. Yeah. Group these, put them in the middle. And that should update. It's not updating. Saving. Ah, I know, okay. Because I need to turn it again into a symbol. Speech bubble. I'm just going to delete the last one. Yeah. Okay, not perfect, but you get the idea. So let's just maybe add a bit of a color to the background. Oh, that's too much. Maybe something like that. And there you have it. I hope this was helpful. I also promised you to show you how to export your screen. So basically all you need to do is to select that artboard that you want to export and just click make exportable. And here you can select different options. You can select it as a JPEG, as a TIFF, as a PDF, what I normally use. And for example, if you want to prototype it in prot, you can just export it to JPEG. Now let me take a look at some of the questions. Do you think it's only worth using Sketch for mid-high fidelity wireframe? Is it practical to draw some drafts, or you rather draw them by hand and then import them to Sketch? I'd probably recommend just to always start with a hand drawing, with a hand sketched wireframe, simply because it's just quicker. And yeah, you can just make mistakes. You know, even though today's tutorial is pretty quick, I think it would still take you bit of time to figure out what you really want to have on the screen. While you have it on the piece of paper, you can just scratch and throw it away. So I would definitely recommend starting with a paper wireframe and then transferring it into Sketch or any other wireframing tool. So yeah, as I said, I think Unsplash is also available for Figma and Adobe XD. And if not, you can obviously just go to the website and download the images that you like. Why did I change them from icons to symbols? Again, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like working with the textiles. So basically, if it's just an icon, it's just an image. So if I want to update all these icons on every single screen that I created, I'll need to go through each single screen that I designed. And imagine you have an app with 150 screens. So that would basically take a lot of time. But if you turn them to symbols, it will automatically update in every single screen. Does Sketch have ready-made templates to use as a base? I think so. So if you start a new document, a new template, for example, let's try this. Okay, maybe not. App icon material design. Let's check this. This is pretty cool. So yes, there are some resources available in Sketch, but if not, you can obviously go to Sketchup Sources, for example, and there are many other websites where you can just download already kind of pre-made UI kits. Templates. What are the typical websites you use to find images, icons, fonts for UX and UI? Actually, I'm not going to search for it now, but I'm going to send a follow-up email after this webinar with 7 websites I use for UI design inspiration, where we talk about really useful resources. I think the one about fonts I already answered. And I think that's it. So thank you all for attending and staying with me for over 1 hour. I hope this was useful. If you'd like to see another of these tutorials, maybe next time we could do something around prototyping with Sketch, because we didn't have a chance to cover that today. So just get back to my follow-up email with thumbs up for prototyping with Sketch, and we'll make it happen. Yes, we are recording this. I'll send the recording once it's available on YouTube, probably tomorrow. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for coming. Thanks for learning with me. See you next time.